But other than that, he's had a really good run. Lambo so far 5-2, still obviously very, very impressive. So this is going to be one of the upper bracket games right here. So the loser of this would drop down towards the lower bracket. So they're certainly not out of the tournament yet, but you know, winning is always preferred.
And obviously, guys, at the same time, that other quarterfinals will be happening as well between Big Gabe and TY. That's a phenomenal series too. I honestly think it was kind of hard to choose here, right? Because both series have a German in it, which is also for the audience here. Both series, I think, look awesome on paper. And TVT, even though people say in general you should avoid mirrors, I mean, we don't get too many TVTs in general in quarterfinals and stuff like that. So I honestly wasn't sure which one I preferred. I was like, you know what, I'll stay out of it. I'll let the other people decide. But apparently, we went with the PVZ. That's nice for us, at least, you know.
I like the Protoss Berserk. Yeah, my Terran versus Terrans are awesome as well. But no, just kidding. But TVT, it's a very complicated matchup, right? Super technical, and I do enjoy watching it a lot. And yeah, we'll see how that one goes. So if you want to check that out, there is a squad stream going on right now at the top of the Twitch channel as well. So if you click that one, you can watch all of the streams at the same time, and it's certainly worth keeping an eye out on.
Our boy Grant still holding down the fort on the B stream. Let's go ahead and give these players a little introduction, at least here in game one, because that's obviously what they deserve. Quarterfinals time in the right bottom side. We're looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, undefeated so far in this tournament. It is Stats.
And his opponent from Germany, we have none other than Lambo, showing some really good results so far. Always good to see players performing well. It was actually helping out Cyril in between that previous series as well. In between the games, he was giving him some hints here and there, and they were just having a bit of a laugh. But it's good to see. He's always coaching people as well, right? It's good to see that happening.
It's what Snoot said in the end, you know. In the past, it really didn't go that well for Cyril when he went up against Sue. And I wasn't sure if like Sue was some sort of an angstgegner or just stylistically it was bad. But none of that really made sense to me. It's just sometimes there are some results that are hard to explain. And obviously, Sue is incredibly good. So Sue beating Cyril is not weird. It's just that he won like 3-4 series in a row, even though 2 of those were best of ones. But hey, he won the very big one at IM Katowice. It's like, maybe there is something here that we're not aware of. But today, Cyril showed us that perhaps there is nothing there after all. Meanwhile, I think one of the TVs just... What is it? Don't
No, it's just one of those
that's
security blockers here.
It's just an advertisement.
The fans are trying to swarm Rotti, so we've got like a line set up to make sure they can't all just swarm it in here. Guys,
you know what
careful,
I love?
careful, Rotti's here.
You know what I love, Loco? Like, this is an event where the community often comes out in full force and everybody wants to spread the love. And they're always like, oh, give me a hug, give me a hug. And normally that's okay, but at this point,
Warm.
it is warm as hell. And
Especially with these lights on us, you know.
I'm like, you don't want to give me a hug right now, matey. Like, it's... Anyway, let's take a look about this game, or at this game, rather.
Yeah. Super conventional opener here by Stats, going for basically the safest of safest openers. Not too surprising. I don't really know exactly how he feels about, for example, someone like Lambo. If they don't have a lot of history or maybe no history in events at all, I can imagine he's like, okay, I'm probably, you know, either the first or the second best Protoss in the world. I'm just going to take it super safe. He's obviously also very, very good when it comes to playing defensively. And yeah, it's nothing too crazy. Lambo, on the other end, also definitely a macro-focused Zerg. So this should be a fun game.
I mean, we saw Stats have a lot of success with the Oracle opener against Cyril on this map as well, where he goes up to 3 Oracles, 1 Phoenix, and then he shades in 2 Adepts somewhere as well. And if things go well, you get a lot of drones. And in that game, he got 22. I mean, that's obviously an absolutely outrageous amount of drones. I am sure that Lambo has seen those games already. Lambo is somebody who always does his homework. He always follows everything in Starcraft as well. I think he even rewatches a lot of his own games too. So be careful what you say about Lambo.
Oh, man. I've got nothing but praise.
I know. I think we all do. But I'm sure that he's aware of it, and I'm sure that Lambo is going to be at least ready for it to some degree. In the end of the day, guys, it still comes down to the execution. He needs to be in the right place. Queens need to be in strong locations. Needs to make sure that he defends against the Adepts. But it won't come as a surprise.
It's one of those locations for these Oracles where they can just hide, and it's just difficult because you sometimes do see them popping up the Stasis Ward as well. This time around, it's going to be a couple of drone kills. But yeah, like you were saying, they are just simply going to regenerate energy, and there we go. The Adepts move to the 3rd.
Yep, but now there are a couple of Zerglings. Like I said, I really think that Lambo's done his homework here. I think he was expecting that little move there as well. So decent play, of course, by Stats, getting a couple of drones, not taking too much real damage. But hey, none of this is game ending. This time he does let the Shade finish up. The Adepts will get surrounded immediately. Just 3 drones. I mean, those 2 Adepts are not going to have a massive impact in the game right now. but still, I think decent defense there.
Yeah, I like it actually a lot for Lambo. So normally you make quite a lot of Zerglings at this stage in the game to maybe go for a counter-attack, but this hurts actually.
Yep.
That is 11 drones in just a couple of seconds. Anyways, he's been droning up extremely greedily. Even after losing this many workers, he's still ahead worker-wise. That's obviously what he's really looking to do. He wants to saturate those 3 bases. Goes for the Hydra then and the Baneling Nest right now. So do you think he might go for like a timing attack?
Old school Hydra
Yeah.
Bane. I mean, or maybe he just feels that Stats is going to attack him and he just wants to make sure that he's got enough units out on his side of the map. Because obviously Hydra Bane on creep, incredibly powerful, especially if Speed Banes finish up. But if Stats is actually going to move out already, I don't think Lambo is ever going to have anything to keep this 4th base alive. You know, Lambo's, or Loco, excuse me. Slowly but steady, this is starting to look really damn impressive. Everything that Stats is doing, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been losing a couple of the units, but you look at this army, you look at the amount of drones that he has picked off. How on earth is Lambo ever going to keep that 4th base alive? I just don't see it happen.
Yeah, it looks like Lambo is assuming here that he's going to go up against the passive Protoss. I thought so for a second as well when we saw the Forge going up, but no, he's at the very least going to try and test the waters for a little bit. Is there a Prism here?
Maybe on the way? Yes.
Okay, there it is.
I mean, I would like to see him just settle for the 4th here, and okay, that's exactly what Seth's going to do, because otherwise it gets dicey. Sure, maybe you can do even more if you walk up to that ramp, but then there's also a chance you throw away the little advantage that you're creating for yourself. No Zerg ever wants to be a 3-hedge Zerg, Hydra Link, Bane, Roach against a Protoss like Stats.
Yeah.
Nope, you want to be up a base, and Stats has just denied that very, very easily.
Yeah, very clean game so far by the South Korean Protoss. So until Hydras finish up their upgrades, it's not really going to be all too useful, right? They can't really move out on the map and definitely not down a ramp. One Roach right there gets trapped together with a Baneling as well.
Man, Stats actually, it just felt like for 1 minute there he kicked it into overdrive and he was like, stasis, dead drone. Now he's moving around as well. He's grabbing a couple of units. These queens do get picked off. There is a drone heading towards the top side, but that hatch is going to get cancelled as well. And even though it may seem all kind of straightforward and simple, Stats needs to be paying attention. No, this actually is a pretty damn good engagement, I think, at first for Lambo.
A couple of the sentries fall immediately. Prism, though, is still available, picking up some of those weakened units as well. Force fields are so good. He's so on point with it as well, right? It's so tempting to just spam them all over the place and just to prevent that Zerg from engaging at all. Looks like he is deciding, though, to go back home right now. Prism in a bit of a dicey spot, but he's going to be okay.
I mean, I gotta say, I truly love the way that he's playing this, as long as he doesn't lose.
Oh, there's no grooved spines yet.
I mean, double Robo at home, Storm on the way. Stats has just been able to keep Lambo on 3 hatches for the first 8 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. Yes, you're going to be very, very happy with that, especially if this is the infrastructure that you're working with.
Big stasis.
Yep, and that's a couple of drones. That's the Queen again as well. Man, Stats, he's actually playing really freaking good this weekend, eh?
Yeah, he's just on point, right? Like, he's just very, very strong in these straight-up games. And it's hard to, like, explain what separates him as well. It's just all so clean. Right?
Can we take a look at the units lost resources so
man.
far? The double stasis.
Does that work, by the way? No, it doesn't. But it looks cool.
Yep. Can we take a look at the income graph as well over the last few?
Woo! Did you see that workers lost in total or just the resources lost?
Yep. It's
So
definitely not pretty, especially because Lambo's not richer, right? If a Zerg is way richer, it's okay to lose 1,600 resources more. But he hasn't been way richer. You look at the army right now, +1 missile attacks is not even done, +1 melee is starting, but that all seems very ambitious. Do we have Speed Banes, by the way? Did he ever start that upgrade? Yes.
Yeah, he does have that one. He's trying to go up towards Hive right now, probably go Brute Lords. He does need to hold on, though, against this aggression. Storm is done. So that's what we need to watch out for right now. One good Storm on these Hydras, and it's game over.
Man, I am actually blown away by everything that Stats has done in this game. He's making it look easy. Obviously, he has to be a little bit careful here. Can't stand in the crosser balls, he knows that. But with the Storms and all these Immortals, I think that's going to be a GG. Oh my goodness. What an incredibly clean and strong game by Stats. That's sick, actually.
He's so, like, that was perfect execution pretty much, right? Like, I guess he lost those 2 adepts at the 3rd. That's the only thing I can come up with that kind of went, like, not perfect.
But still got 3 drones.
Yeah, exactly.
No, honestly, I often see, you know, I watch a lot of Stats, of course, and there are moments where he plays good, and there are moments where I feel like he's really on point. And this really felt like, okay, this would be an absolute nightmare to go up against. It just felt like Lambo could never catch a break. You know, there's always something happening. The Oracles kept flying in. The Oracles, they didn't go down too easily. The Stasises, they were annoying for the rest of the game. The Adepts are there. That random Phoenix that was hunting down Overlords. There were just a lot of tiny little things happen, but it's so hard to find your rhythm as a Zerg player when you're just always reacting to something that this annoying Protoss is throwing at you.
Yeah, and he never got that economy up either, right? So that really hurts. He tried to get the 4th, and then it got cancelled, and from there on out, like, just perfect execution there. Now, I was just looking at who he was talking to. Su is laying down on the couch. Zest is sitting right next to him as well. Like, you know, guys, that went actually pretty easy.
Koreans, they do really stick together as well. Even though the
Yeah.
HomeStory Cup, I think it's awesome to see how open or how much they open up in general, and they really do hang out with us a lot, and we'll have some fun all together. But if you go back, for instance, to Into Extreme Masters Katowice, you know, there at this one point where Sarah and Solar are playing, Sarah and Sue, excuse me, and it's a close series, right? At one point, all the European pro gamers are watching behind somebody's monitor, and they're always like low-key cheering for Sarah because obviously they want Sarah to win. And when Sue actually got the job done, like the Koreans cheered, like they were freaking loud. They hit the table. They're like, "Yeah!"
That's awesome.
It's like the king is down. But it is really cool as well. Like these boys absolutely do support each other and they cheer for each other.
It's fun as well because what you might not necessarily notice when you're watching the stream is that all of these players are, for the most part, really good friends of each other too. Yep. Like they meet each other pretty much every month, right? At a different event somewhere in the world, maybe every 2 months. But yeah, it's awesome. Like they're not just rivals, but they're actually good friends as well. And obviously, especially you know, guys like, for example, Solar, they speak perfect English. It's awesome to yeah, just see the pro gamers interact as well. It's not something you see very regularly on the live stream.
And all of them, they meme so much.
Yeah.
Like, even the guys that
Even
you guys...
Cyril, right? Like
Cyril's is one of the biggest memes.
Yeah.
It's really mean that. I know it's hard that you guys, you know, it's hard to believe because you don't always see it. And, you know, he's so nice and he's always so humble on the couch. But when it comes to talking with the other pro gamers, Cyril memes a lot. And he's really known as one of the funnier guys out there. Believe it or not, guys.
oh man. So we've been seeing a lot of Nidus play on this map especially. Do you think there's a chance it's gonna happen again? You want to join us, Snoot?
If
You
Snoot
can
wants
join
to
us.
Join us. You're more than welcome to join us. You know,
Snoot
I
looking
haven't
very excited
seen...
about it. Ooh.
No worries. I've got it, Loco. Loco thought I was going to spill coffee over
Nah, your micro with the coffee mug is incredible.
I don't think we should really be thinking too much about potential Nidus or anything. I think what's a lot more important for Lambo is that he gets a cleaner start. I don't think he was necessarily playing bad. I just think it was stats playing incredibly good. But if he wants to turn this into a competitive best of 5, he needs to clean up the defense. I think it's simple and straightforward. I said, did you watch game 1, Snoot? Okay, I can't hear you yet, so I don't know what's happening. Jens is trying. Maybe we've got another headset for you.
I've got another one over here.
Yeah.
See if that one works.
Go.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
just dropping by.
Okay, just dropping by. Well,
Just dropping by.
even if it's just for a game, we'll be more than happy to have you here. Did you watch game 1?
Yeah, I was watching downstairs.
Pretty impressive stuff. Huh?
Yeah, like every timing Stats does, it's so punchy, right?
It's so clean. Like it was just really clean execution. We were trying to spot mistakes. Turns out it's pretty tricky.
I think it becomes a little bit difficult if you don't have the very early Roach Warren, right? I don't know.
Yeah, he seemed to play. According to what he saw happen in the games against Cyril, I think. So he countered the early game from what he knew from the games that Stat played against Cyril. So he decided to skip the Roach Warren and whatnot. But yeah, a little dicey.
I mean, I think if you talk about dictating the pace of a Starcraft game, that was all Stats from the very beginning to the end. Like what even took place on Stats' side of the map? Was there one thing that happened on his side of the map? I don't think so. Maybe a couple links ran by once, but it was basically just Stats attacking, Stats slapping Lambo around, and just finding little opening after little opening, and then eventually got way more done. It is an Overlord speed opening this time for Lambo. Are you a fan of these on Thunderbird, Snoot?
For sure, for sure. I think Thunderbird is one of the most difficult maps to scout on, and Overlord Speed gives you a little bit of options to get in there. It's great in the long run also, because there's just one ramp connecting to all of the bases, right? So having the option to be able to constantly send in overseers to check what Protoss is doing, are they getting Storm? Are they getting double Robo? Like, what is happening? I think it's a great choice.
I believe this is a build as well that that Lambo popularized recently, right? Where you go for the Overlord speed before the Zergling speed. Because you should still be able to be just fine. He explained it to me that you should be okay against pretty much everything except for adept pressure. So if there's like Glaive adepts coming, which is very uncommon right now, it's pretty crazy. Hero Marine right now, yeah, it's 1-1.
I was
it's
about
a big
to
game.
ask, man. Mapu and Mapu just reached me. I was literally, I was going to let you guys finish and be like, hey, Mapu, can you tell us what's happening real quick in the other series? And yeah, big gape against TY, 1-1. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, but in general, it usually turns out okay, even with a delayed struggling speed. Because most of the stuff that can hit you out on is just usually adepts. And if you have enough slow Zerglings, if the queens are in good position, then it usually turns out fine.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot, especially on a map like this where the overlord positioning, like you can check the natural, I guess, of the gases, but other than that, you're kind of in the dark.
That's so many Zerglings, by the way.
Yeah.
22 Zerglings.
Did he notice that there was not a second gateway unit?
I don't exactly know, but I mean, we're gonna see what's going to happen here. Obviously, with all those links in the queens, Lambo should be fine here. The lair is actually just starting now, so we do have spore crawlers in every base. That's a lot of damage on the Warp Prism. This is already a better game for Lambo than the previous one. It's so nice, right, as a Zerg to get that immediate damage on the Prism.
Yeah, it just feels amazing.
I love that split right there at the end, not showing all of the Zerglings.
Almost. Yeah.
It's still even more real damage, I believe.
It's really looking like a Nidus Worm.
Yeah, so Zerglings are going to go across. I think they're mostly here to try and counter a third. So the third is going up right now, about the 5-minute mark.
And it was so... How many queens do we currently got? Like 5, 6? He's making even more drones now.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I would expect a Nidus Worm, but seeing the drones, yeah, change of heart apparently. Straight into a Hydra then.
I mean, actually, this is so many links that I do think that he's going to be able to get a cancel here. He's going to go for the adepts as well. Lambo, don't get too... I would have loved to see him get the Nexus. He wants everything. He's going for the moon now. I mean, sure, he's getting a couple of units. Might get the Immortal here, even though there is a force field available.
Great force field.
Yeah, I was going to say, but oh man, missed opportunity there for Lambo. Too greedy. I really think if he just settles for the Nexus there, that's pretty damn awesome, and you should be more than happy with that. Yeah. Maybe grab the first 2 adepts and then go for the Nexus, but he just wanted everything there, and yeah, that's where it backfired.
All right, so we will be seeing that more standard follow-up right now as well from Stats. Do you think he would go for, once again, like, there's no double robo production this time around, right?
So not yet.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he goes for the exact same push once more.
No, I think like the last game, Stats was just doing such an awesome job with the Oracles, the adepts.
Like a response.
He could kind of do whatever the hell he wanted, and he made that very early move out. I don't think that move out would make too much sense here on Thunderbird, especially not since he opened up with the DTs. It's already different when it comes to the gas distribution, and it's just going to hit too late. I mean, look at where the Hydra is being built right now compared to the last game. I feel like last game when Stats was denying the fort, that's when the Hydra then finished up or something, right? And now Stats is still on his side of the map, so definitely a much better start for our German Zergi.
Alrighty, so it's going to be a Hydraling Bane. How do you feel about that, Snoot? I mean, a lot of players have been going like Roach Hydra. And
it's really good. Like, as long as you can get away with Hydraling Bane, if you can skip the whole Roach phase, that's great. It's just about surviving and, you know, managing to stay alive. The Baneling speed is going to be a little bit late here, and that's always a little bit risky, but if you can get away with this type of Hydra then timing, and then Banelings, and double chamber, double upgrade attack, that's fantastic. But,
yeah, it's a little bit greedy, but because Stats is pushing right now.
It's about survival, right? He has to hold on against this timing that Stats is about to do.
Stats doesn't know everything that we know, so he's obviously going to be a little bit more careful. He's going to wipe in some units right on the edge of creep there, though. He could maybe send the Observer forward or Hallucinated Phoenix. It's a lot of links on the way right now. Lambo needs to get his queens in a good position, otherwise he's going to be in quite some trouble here. I like that he's bringing the spores just to be annoying against maybe the Prism, the Observer, and anything that buys time, right?
Yeah, the creep spread is great, but no Baneling speed, it's also going to make this very difficult.
Yeah, but I can understand if your stats that you're a little bit scared there. Yeah, especially with the spores coming forward, that kind of stuff is annoying.
Yeah, Charge is not done yet either, so I don't know if he really wants to commit.
Yeah, gonna split up a bit.
He's like, hey guys, there's zealots in here. Not High Templar, just letting you know.
This is not an Archon drop, you don't have to worry about it. Ignore it for now, okay? What's the worst thing that a couple zealots could ever do in a Zerg main base, right, Snoot?
Yeah, who knows, right?
Yeah, he's actually returning right now.
Oh my goodness. No! Wow. 7.
That is unfortunate. I like this though, because he scouted how much there was for Zerg, and rather than committing to the push, he figured, you know what, I'm probably not going to be in a great spot, I'll just go back home.
You're absolutely right, but the funny thing is, the moment he leaves, Infestation Pit goes down, right? So maybe there's a chance that Hive is still going to be a bit quicker than Stats is expecting it, because Stats probably seeing this right now. It's like, okay, you're just Lair Tech Zerg, right? It's going to be Hydraling Bane forever, and the moment he leaves, Infestation Pit goes down. I'm expecting to see, you know, the Hive almost fired up immediately after it.
Baneling speed feels very late.
Yeah. He could have even started a bit faster, but maybe he got a bit worried there because, you know, Stats was shocking
like
around.
when Stats was pushing the front, it was more like, I need to morph these into Banelings rather than I need to start Baneling speed. Like, it was a scary timing for sure.
Alrighty, so it's going to be Hive and the Spire, so looking to go up towards that greater Spire.
It's really funny how games of StarCraft 2 play out because Lambo had his units in the right position there, and he had the queens on the low ground, and then he had a good creep spread. And because of that, a fight never took place. There's a cool little hit and run there.
Oh, you know what? I think that's going to go down. Oh, no way. No way.
Calculated.
Calculated.
Wow.
Big brain gaming, Loco.
Yeah.
He
I mean, these
went-
players, they have 200 IQ, man. I'm just not up there.
He left with the exact same amount of HP, then he came in.
Yes.
So at that
And
point,
he got like 2 Zerglings.
he got the queen, right?
Yeah, the queen.
Oh, yeah, I got the queen, yeah.
But yeah, imagine a world where Lambo would have been in the wrong position and Stats can actually just step on creep there, drop a couple of force fields, maybe get a cancel on the fort, and we're casting a completely different game. So even though nothing truly took place there in the last 2 minutes of this game, it was well played by Lambo because things could have been very, very dicey.
Lambo sees this timing with the scouting circling and an overlord also, setting up his round currently. Not sure if he's gonna jump on it. Maybe, maybe.
+2, +2,
Oh, the
just about to
Templars are
finish.
on the right side. The Banelings coming in from the left top side as well. Those are some good first storms, but I think there's a little too much Zerg here, right? Banelings?
He's trying his very best to pick up as many of those very expensive Templar as possible. Still, the Zerglings and the Hydras are on the chase here. Prism still alive.
Really good job there getting the links on top of the High Templars as well. He got 1 or 2 more High Templars. Now he wants to get this one as well. There's Storm Energy, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, there should be.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gets it too, gets it too.
Wait, so there's no High Templar remaining right now?
There's
there's 2.
Prism, I think.
I don't think the Prism had any HCs.
No, there's only 2 here in total, and they do not have energy.
Damn.
He could pounce right now. He just finished 2-2, but instead he decides to go home and go Greater Spire. It's a safe choice, right? It's a very safe
It's a
choice.
safe choice, yeah.
This is
I think
one
it could have capitalized, though.
This is truly one of those moments where I want to see 2 drones on the south side of the map open up those mineral patches, guys. I really think that would... Hey, I don't know what you
No,
think,
I agree.
Jens.
It's good.
Like, especially because he's got +2 Banes soon. I mean, those Banes can just wiggle in there. You're going to force Stats to make multiple cannons and batteries there, even though he's got 2 cannons. But, I mean, still wide open, right? A Bane will still connect with 6 or 7 workers.
And it's almost impossible to scout his Protoss if you cannot hold the watchtower, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just a non-stop route from the Zerg 5th base to the Protoss 3rd.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to see it. It's one of those things where it's like, it looks silly, but if you just take that effort right now, you're not
Oh,
going to
man.
tell me that Lambo can't pull 2 drones.
7 hit points in a dream. I've got a feeling this one is not going to make it out this time, though.
7 H points. Okay, now not with the
man.
Corruptors.
That's the queen though.
Lucky number 7, no more, not lucky anymore, I guess. TY 2-2-1.
1.
I'm assuming it's 2-1 against Hero Marine. Thank you, Mapu.
Map is getting lazy. He's like, I could write the full score, or I can just write 2.
Oh, Banelings. Oh, these are just trying to get lucky here.
It is actually kind of nice though to basically before the fight even starts to activate 6 of the barriers of these Immortals. 'Cause
Ooh.
that makes the Hydra so much better. There are some Hydras and Lynx counterattacking on the right top side as well. That's a very easy pickup there.
Kill, no
Lambo-
cancel.
And where are the DTs, by the way? Why we don't see any DTs being warped in?
Yeah, so this base is gonna fall here. He was hitting a small supply block. Couldn't
Oh.
morph in those 5 additional Brute Lords, so that's a little unfortunate right here for Lambo. But the first Brute Lord is out. 4 more are joining in just a second, and obviously that means Brute Lord Infestor is gonna be the name of the game here.
Why do you think Lambo's not taking the base on the right side of his third?
It's kind of because the 5th on the vertical, it gives you a little bit better protection against War Prisms coming from that side. But aside from that, I don't really know exactly. But I always tend to take this base myself too.
Okay.
Usually there's more creep. It helps you set up flanks in the area above the 4th. And it just feels a little bit better that way. And you don't need to clear out the minerals with drones and such. It's
I
just
feel like
a
that's the main reason I feel.
tiny bit easier maybe.
I actually, I take the vertical one as well, but people always ask me, why don't you take the other one? I was like, I don't really have an answer for it. It just kind of feels better to me to take the vertical one.
Yeah.
Stalkers, though, blinking forward here against these Hydras.
Yeah, very squishy. No Banelings to support him just yet, but he gets away with most of them, so that's good.
I mean, there's no way that Stats can really make too much happen here against those Brood Lords, but hey, Tempest are on the way. Pretty quick Mothership as well. You just fire that one up immediately. You like the Mothership against the Banes to keep the High Templars cloaked and stuff? I think that's the main
for sure.
purpose there, right?
It's very good initially. Like, once you get towards super late game with a bunch of infestors and stuff, it's not that great anymore.
I
But
agree.
in the beginning, it's amazing.
Yeah. I think you're spot on there. I think there is a time and a place for the Mothership. You can definitely say that this is that time. D-Cell is going to go down. That War Prism gets picked up as well. That's very nice. We're still working with a single Robo, correct? We don't have double Robo or something weird
He
happening.
switched over full to
there is a
Stargate
double Robo.
production.
Okay. Yeah, he's obviously making star units right now. But if you have only one Robo, then losing Observers and Prisms hurts
Yeah.
even more. So it's important that he does have two, which he does.
Alrighty. So we're going to be seeing some late game Zerg versus Protoss. All of the late games that I've seen so far at this event have been very Zerg favored.
Yes.
We'll see how it's going to play out in this game as well. I think that Lambo must be feeling pretty comfortable here, right?
Yeah.
Did he get lucky here?
I think the double evolution chamber that Lambo got early on was a big tell. He didn't go for a single one like you see in a lot of games. It was just straight into double. And I think that's a big tell. Like, he's very comfortable with games going this way.
But he wanted to do that on King's Cove as well, even though he had a really ugly start. But even on King's Cove, he went to double Evo, double aggressive.
Yeah, that's maybe a bit much then. I don't know.
Here we go, though. This is a timing that's supposed to hit right before that critical mass of Zerg is done. He is already maxed out, of course, adding on so many Infestors right now, trying to add on some static defense as well.
10 more Infestors on the way. I mean, Lambo would love to buy just a tiny bit of time. I don't think that Lambo is indestructible here, right? Like,
no, not yet.
It's also a little bit painful to lose these spores because you're not super rich when you have only 66 drones.
And he just doesn't have that many Infestors yet either. I know a lot of them were in production. He's going to bring these units back now, sort of trying to flank, but I feel like the army is a tiny bit too tiny for flank. You could say that it's now or never for stats, even though he is the one who's maxed out, and Neural does go down on a single Tempest. It's going to bring that one forward. I don't like this fight so far by Lambo, guys. I don't like it at all.
No, fighting over the crevasse right there doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? I mean, you could try and get the fungal growth off and deal a little bit of damage, but...
I mean, it's a very confident move to make, like trying to get the Neural there. I would love to see Burrow in play also, because these Tempests are having a very good time singling out these Infestors.
Oh, there we go. There is Storm available, though.
Yeah, good fungals.
Wow,
getting a Tempest is huge.
He got 2 of them.
Yeah. And that opens up for the Broodlords. They cannot be one-shot anymore. So Lambo might actually charge up here. Lots of storms, though.
A lot of Zerglings coming in as well. Indeed, a few more storms will land on that ram, make it harder and harder for Lynx to get through. A forward blink there by Stats. He's going to try to get a couple of these Broodlords, but he's losing almost all of his Stalkers, and he must run out of Storm eventually.
Those storms were massive on the Hydralisks. All of the support just vanished. Like, this is becoming very troublesome, especially off of a 66 drone economy. Like,
yeah,
no
I was
bank.
going to say, like, that really doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Like, that fight over there doesn't really give you that much value. Isn't that exactly what Stats wants to do?
Yeah.
He wants to fight before that critical mass of Zerg in Broodlord Infestor is here, right? So he would take this any day.
Well, he was looking for it, and seems like he got it. He gets the job done. He's going to break Lambo before Lambo truly has the setup that he was dreaming of. 2 more Broodlords will morph, but one of them goes down immediately. And even if Stats doesn't win here, right now, he's got the reinforcements coming in.
GG.
And that's going to be a GG. Stats, even though he had to work for it a little harder than he did in game 1, still takes a pretty convincing victory there in the end.
Stupid good.
I truly think that timing is key there, because he's forcing the start of that fight already with 10, 11 Infestors in production. If he waits a minute or 2, all of those Infestors are out. There's way more energy on all of those Infestors, way more Infested Terrans, maybe some more Neural, stuff like that. Lambo was getting ready for that ultra late game, but he definitely wasn't there yet.
What do you think went wrong there, Snoot, for him? Because, for example, one thing we saw earlier is that a lot of Zerg players at that point in the game like to go up to like 80 drones and just start putting down static defense and stuff. And he was sitting, like you pointed out, on like 66. Couldn't really reinforce there with like Hydra Ling either. You think that's a big deal?
I don't know, like the way the engagements played out towards the end was very strange to watch. I think perhaps the fungals being shot a little bit early, kind of uphill, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Up towards the cliff.
Yeah.
I think kind of using...
He lost like high ground vision as well.
Yeah, I think using that energy a little bit early might have been part of it. Because once you lose that buffer and the Infestors start to drain out, you lose the neural parasites for the future, right? When you fungal like that. And some of the fungals were very good though. Like he got a lot of the Tempests down to very low health. So the Broodlords could do something more.
I'm with you guys.
But
I think the positioning was really, really bad there.
It was maybe a bit too soon, right?
Yeah.
But
like he had that one neural parasite and then he kind of just bounced on it. But
yeah.
All right, well, we're seeing game number 3 here underway in just a little bit.
What I just want to say there real quick is that even though I'm with you guys, I think that final positioning was obviously not where you truly want to take the fight, and a lot of things about that fight could have been better. When I think of like what went wrong in that game for Lambo, I always go back to the beginning where things started to go wrong for the first time. And I honestly believe that a key point in that game was his Ling attack where he didn't get the Nexus.
Right.
I feel like if he just settles for the Nexus there and he retreats, we are looking at a completely different game, don't get me wrong, but that was massive. He made all those Lings, he defended well, he has a massive opportunity to get a free cancel on the Nexus, then he settles for the Adept, then he wants more Adepts, and in the end he doesn't really get anything, he loses all of the Lings. it changes all the tempo, it changes the income so much of stats.
Yeah.
And I really feel that if Lambo would have just got that pick off, he would have been in a much sweeter position to begin with.
I think Lambo had a very good fight against the High Templar
In the
charge.
middle?
When he
Yeah.
reset the Templar count, like that was a great fight. But it was
Yeah, he
also a
decided
bit
to go back then, right? Like he probably could have tried to push for a tempo advantage at that point as well.
Yeah.
possibly, but I think that was a good fight. But also what I think hurt a little bit was right before the end, there were like maybe 6 spore crawlers on top
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
plateau.
yeah.
And they weren't uprooted. So all of those spores, they died. And they would have bought a lot of time, I think.
Yeah, helps a lot against
so
the
not saving
mothership
those
as well with detection.
Yeah, not saving those just made it a little bit more difficult, I think.
Yeah, he had like 2 lines of spores, right? He didn't have
Like
one.
6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, but he had like 1 on the high ground, and then he had a line of spores
Exactly.
on the low ground as well. But
Yeah.
obviously, if you got those spores on the high ground, you want to bring your army there because if they go down for
Yeah, or bring the spores back.
I do think it was a better game from Lambo, and it is very clear that Stats is here to show us some phenomenal Starcraft, guys. Because in the group stage, he looked really good. I even got that victory over Cyril. The first game against Lambo, I think he looked ridiculous. The second game looked really good as well. Even when things started to get a little tricky at one point, it just feels like he made a lot of correct decisions. Love the army move out, love when he got the Tempest out, and love how he forced the fights that Lambo probably didn't really want to take, but you kind of get sucked into those fights, right? It's like these Tempests are throwing rocks at you from far away, and you're like, eventually, you're like, you know what?
Yeah, they hit so many of the infestors, right?
Yeah. It's like, I'll fight then, if you want me to fight so badly, I'll fight. But you get tricked into it because that's not the fight you should take as a Zerg. So I think decent performance by Lambo, but just really, really good again by Stats.
Righty, so do you think we're going to see that Stargate opener again, or do you prefer seeing like a Twilight opener on this map as well with Dark Templar?
Robo.
What if Stats bust out the Marjorie?
Wait, what's that?
And what if he does the Marjorie build? The 2 Immortal, 8 Zealot charge.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's half my meta games right there.
Yeah, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. You can thank Harston for that. He
There's the
made
Stalker. Might be happening.
it. No, it would be so funny. I don't believe, after the way that he's been playing so far, like
No,
the
I'd be
most
very
solid
surprised.
macro builds in the book, it'd be ridiculous. I love how Jens is smiling from ear to ear. He wants Stats to do the Marjorie so bad right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody's got a lot of practice against it, it's Lambo. Lambo's pretty much the reason why the build got famous in the first place. We do have a very quick Prism there, and we got a Sentry, so it's gonna be different. It could be one of those gateway Immortal Sentry pushes, right?
The Marsman build.
The Marsman?
Marsman.
The Dutch brothers, Marsman?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a 5 or 6 gate with tons of stalkers.
Yeah, lots of gateway units. I
Yeah,
heard
gateway units, yeah.
Somebody else complained about him this weekend doing that build. I was like, oh. It's like, I like Marsman. He's a great dude. There was one dude in the building here who looked so much like him. I was like, yo, mate. He's like, oh, hi, Rod, it's nice to meet you. I'm like, that's not Marsman. I just wondered. He probably thought, like, man, Roddy's so spontaneous and cool. But I actually thought I was saying hello to my friend.
Don't worry, you won either way.
Just rolled with it.
Losing this Overlord kind of stinks, by the way. It's possible to save it if you send it to the right very quickly. Like, as soon as you see the sentry, you can send the Overlord to the side, so losing that's a bit unfortunate. And it's not really going to help too much with the scouting. Like, this is a scary time for a Zerg player, because you have no idea, except for the sentry and the stalker, you don't really know what sort of follow-up there's going to be.
But it's so weird as well at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's actually hard to read. If I think back of some of the builds that even Classic used, he played on this map as well, and he wanted to sort of do a Marjorie, but then he changed it up, and it was like sort of the middle of everything. He did it against Sue in I don't know, in some series they recently played. I think it was Dark actually. I don't know. Either way, it's like what is this build exactly? And it just felt like a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of the old school Soul Train of farting. Then it's a little bit of some of the weird gateway all-ins that we know. Like it's odd, right? It's like Immortal gateway unit.
Yeah, but I think Lambo is playing it perfectly. Against the Marjorie, you never want to go to 48 drones, right? But against this, which is a bit more delayed, where the Prism is actually doing nothing instead of, just going straight.
Is he a hatchery tech, by the way, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten a lair yet. He didn't go for any spores either. so it's a bit of
Couple
a-
Ravages are key though here, right, Snoot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the Roach Warren for sure. And if you have the time, you can also get the Bending Nest, but triple gas, maximum 50 drones. That's the way you want to hold it. So right now, Lambo is playing perfectly.
I love this already because he's buying time with the Zerglings.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose them like this. This is bad. This is bad. Yeah.
But he is morphing Roaches into Ravages. I understand that it's bad, but I truly believe that getting the Ravages out at the beginning of the fight is probably more important.
Yeah.
He really bought some decent time with a very small pack of Lings. I like what Lambo's done so far, guys.
Yeah, he also now knows for sure that there's no third base for Protals. Would have already been taken here if Stats wanted to go for one of the considered to be normal time.
Even this is nice because he's forcing a defensive weapon. And he's forcing a building that's probably going to have to be cancelled.
That's really just going to transition.
That's it.
No?
I mean,
They
you kind
often-
of have to get something done right now, though.
Well, Lambo thinks he is because he just fired up the lair. And
Whoa.
7 drones.
Oh no.
Lambo, I mean, he still does have quite a few units, so he can buy some time.
But it's only
be
4
careful.
Ravagers.
Oh.
You have to be very careful with how you use the biles when you have only 4.
Please start building some more
That
units
moment when you
again,
delay
Lambo.
Stats so much that you think he's going to play macro, but he's actually just pushing.
Well, he is in the end. So
Yeah, okay, he
Lambo
is
actually made the
transitioning.
correct
Wow.
call.
Yeah.
Stats just kind of tested the waters one more time, but he's like, ah, that
But he
is
still
quite a
needs
bit
to hold on to this army.
Yep.
Still got to fight as well as possible. Just take it easy. Careful, careful. Remember, the sentries are still building tons of energy here, right?
Yep.
10 Roaches on the production tab, though. He really needs every unit he can get here.
Almost got the Observer. That would have been so nice.
Yeah.
Always feels like they hit jackpot, don't you? If you like throw up across a bound and somehow kills the ops, you're like, yes. Yeah.
Kobe.
Kobe. Steph with the shot.
I would love to see a Baneling nest also, but it's also possible to hold this with just this. I mean, Stats is so scary to play against, right? You never know when it's actually going to commit or not.
To be honest, I really think that everything that Lambo's doing so far is spot on. He's
Yeah, it's
getting the
great.
Bane now, but I don't think he should have done it sooner because then I'm afraid
And
that
now he's getting the Baneling nest. I think that's fantastic.
Still no third base, though, here for Stats, right? Like, this is extremely late. He needs to get something done at this point, right? Isn't he going to, like, run into way too much Zerk here if he waits?
I mean, like, he's looking for the opening. He just doesn't want to throw away his army. But it's just
Right.
because Lambo has actually made the correct call so far and got the right amount of units. He definitely should have gotten something done. And technically, he did do something, right? Because he forced out a ridiculous amount of basic Zerg units. All right, so TY apparently won his quarterfinals over Hero Marine, guys. Congrats to our Korean Terran. Sad for Big A, but don't worry, Big A fans. He still got a lower bracket. This is a really funny scenario we've got in this game now, because even though Stats didn't get done what he was hoping for, it's also not like he's down and out, because he forced out such a big response from Lambo that, you know, we're just kind of in a unique scenario right now, where they both have a few more basic units than they probably would have liked to have.
Yeah, the thing about this Protoss opening is that it essentially forces the Zerg into playing Ravager Ling Bane.
Yeah.
And that's a style that it used to be strong, but it fell out of fashion real quick. So if you play against it correctly as Protoss, it's actually, you know, it's not the best. It's not Hydra Ling Bane. It's not Hydra Ling Bane Infest the Broodlord, right? Having all these roaches, you really feel like you need to accomplish something with them, especially when you're approaching max out. But,
yeah, no, that's a really good point. Because this is an Archon Immortal-based mid-game, right? And that's really what Stats would like to play against.
And especially when you have this many Immortals and this many Force Fields, we know what happens to roaches trapped in those Force Fields. And with how many Immortals? 4 or 5?
The only thing I'm a bit worried about here for Lambo is that he doesn't have Baneling speed yet. If that finishes up, I really feel that he should be able to get a really good fight there. I love that he's got quite a few Ravages in the mix, because that's going to help out gunning down those Archons, right? Archons often run a little bit away from the Immortals as well in the back line. I really like it on paper for Lambo. He's close to max out. I think the only thing he wants is those upgrades to finish up. +1 missile attacks, Bane speed, and then just go for it, man. Let's party.
Yep.
Yeah, it's important though that he gets something done here, right? Like, you can't really just sit back for too long, because then obviously you're gonna go up against even
But at the
more
same time,
Immortals.
going off creep is always a little bit risky.
I still like it though. I think this is his moment.
Oh,
He's
those
maxed out.
Banelings, they are rolling into Archons though. That's not what you want. There's a lot more where they came from.
There is, but that's a couple of Archons and Immortals going down in the front. I really like this fight for Lambo, guys.
Yeah,
Still
great.
has plenty of Banelings left. Maybe get the Prism there.
Whoa.
Oh, he would have been able to get it. Stats is losing everything. Lambo, I love it. Love the timing there. He is actually going to be able to make the Protoss god bleed a tiny bit here. Very well done. What an excellent game by Lambo.
Yeah, really cool.
5 times the army supply. I don't think Stats is going to hold on here. And Lambo, he's going for it this time around.
Somewhere Todd is sitting in the building, looking at the supply.
GG.
GG.
You know, I really
Super well
feel
done.
that obviously, like, both these guys are incredibly good. I love Lambo as well. You guys saw that? Yes, we saw it, Lambo, and it was good. Like, I obviously think that both these guys are incredibly good, but I think maybe when it comes to like the super straight up, straightforward macro-oriented builds, that Stats' execution in general is just a tiny bit better than Lambo. Lambo's super good, but Stats probably just a little bit better in certain phases of the game. But now I kind of felt that this could have been a European PVZ kind of, right? Like,
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, and I feel that if there's anything that Lambo is really good against, it's those guys that have been trying to all-in him over and over and over again. I think Lambo is a very smart Zerg, and I think he's really good at analyzing the strengths of armies in certain phases of the game. Because even though I understand for people at home, this was maybe not the most exciting game ever, all the calls, all the scouting that Lambo did in the first 6, 7, 8 minutes of it, it's perfect.
Yeah,
If he makes too many drones or he makes too many units at one point, he can actually just straight up lose because he's digging his own grave. But he made so many of the correct calls, and I think that's just the experience of playing against these kind of builds over and over and over again.
Yeah, like every time you play a game as Zerg, it's like this huge tree or Sudoku board that you're like trying to cross out the options, right? And in this one, Lambo just crossed out each thing one by one and got it correct. It's kind of like Minesweeper. You're just trying to, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. And like, it's also that Stats tried to get the engagement off a couple times. Like, he wanted to move into the third base, and then he walked all the way around. He wanted to engage the ramp from the center, and then from like the right-hand side, and it never really happened. He never really got the engagement he was looking for, and it puts him in such a weird spot because eventually Zerg does max out, and then you're sitting on like, what, 45 probes, and you don't have much as a follow-up.
And the funny thing is that I don't even think Stats truly made a big mistake in that game, other than maybe in the end he was too far forward, but I understand that maybe he felt like he should try to make something happen. But like not going for any of those fights that you mentioned, it was the correct call, just because Lambo made all the correct calls.
Yeah,
It's just
and maybe in a different universe, like the round of drones that Lambo made, like maybe an all-in could have worked. But
Do you think like knocking down a rocks at the third would have been smart at that point?
for Stats?
Yeah.
Not sure, to be honest.
Anyway, I think it just was an excellent game. Lambo showing us that he's been all in more than once. That he has a good read on them. Let's see if our Korean brothers is going to go back to some of that macro-oriented stuff that we saw. I think especially the way that he played on King's Cove, not just the execution of that game, but it's just that opening. I feel like you can't do too much about it as a Zerg. The only thing I am kind of thinking of is like if they open up with 3 Oracles and a Phoenix and 2 Adepts, and they're pretty reckless with them, what about like Nidus counters? Like it feels like there should be potential there.
Yeah, it's viable. Knight is
Isn't that what we
queen.
saw yesterday?
Yeah, Sue, right?
Yes, I'm trying to come up with the game. I'm not entirely sure which of the Zergs it
Sue
was.
versus Drogo?
Yeah, I think that
On
was the
Acropolis
one.
too.
Yes, it was like 1 Phoenix into 3 Oracles, and then he just went for Roaches, Queens, and a Nidus Worm. And it was game over immediately.
Yeah, very little as a Protoss.
Like just way too many Zerglings and Queens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the nice thing is, against the mass Oracle, you usually make extra Queens anyway. So if you have 8 Queens at some point, it kills everything, right? Like you take the best unit and you set it in the main base of the Protoss.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You can make an Immortal, you can make a War Prism and some shield batteries, but it's just so much Zerg, right? Your probes are gonna start falling, so even if you micro the Immortal, all of your mineral lines fall, and it just becomes very difficult.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to become a really standard response to that. If we,
I mean, anyone who watched Sue this tournament, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. If you just see like, but it's so hard though because you never know if it's going to be 1 Phoenix and then 1 Oracle, or 1 Oracle and then 1 Phoenix, or 1 Phoenix and then 3 Oracles. Like you can't scout it.
Yeah, you have to be very comfortable with just randomly having too many queens if you're gonna play like that.
No Zerg player is too worried about effing you.
That has never stopped you in any of your games, Snoot. I have never watched you play a game and like, oh no, I've got 11 queens.
Oh, that's too bad.
I guess I'll do creep spread. Go faster, brute
Like
lords
I
or
see
something.
Terrence in the old days, 2-1-1ing you, and it's just a line of queens. And then it's the next wave of Marines with combat shield and +1, and it's still queens.
Oh man, I lost the game because I had 12 queens instead of 10.
A proxy Stargate. Not something that we see all too much actually right now in Zerg versus Protoss.
No.
It's gonna make that Oracle arrive like 5 seconds sooner, which is actually a big deal.
Yep, it can absolutely get some
looking for
damage.
it, though.
If Lambo scouts it, guys, this
he's looking.
super interesting. And you know what I often think as well? As soon as I see
Oh
this,
man,
it's
he's
like,
gonna find it.
it can potentially deal damage, right? But the big downside of this in general is that you will lose your Stargate. You will lose power to your Stargate. And then I feel like maybe in the mid-late game we could see some Muda switches that are way more powerful then. Yeah, let's see if the Lynx can find the Stargate.
It's the the last final point it checks though.
It's 2 Zerglings in total on proxy duty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a long takes a long time then.
Yeah.
Like if you make 4 Zerglings to scout with, you can find it a little bit faster.
Oh my god. Well, he's gonna scout it when he's already a little bit too late though. He needs to start up the Spore Crawler right now. I guess he can put the Queens in a good spot.
I think this helps a lot though.
Yeah.
Just a couple of seconds is going to help a lot. He's going to see the Stargate here. He will actually, he's got plenty of time to react, I think, guys. Like he may not deny it, but hey, this is massive though.
320 spores is like the perfect timing. So this scout is totally on point. Perfect.
And Stats knows that, you know, he's been figured out, at least for now. This
Wow.
Pokemon is close to
Yeah, this is going to be the crispest
Whoa.
timing ever.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Lambo, absolutely perfect. Well, the Oracle's like, you know what? I'm not even going to try. No point.
Yeah.
I know he's got me.
Now I really wonder where Lambo's going to take
Oh,
the
that
from here.
queen.
Obviously, it is nice. He knows that there is a little bit of investment by Stats, and he also knows that it's likely he's going to be eventually able to pick off that Stargate and at least unpower it, but probably take care of it. Wonder if that's going to influence the rest of his decision-making in this game. A Phoenix as well.
Yeah, not sure if Lambo would be the player to go into mass muta or stuff like that. It's a bit unusual, right?
I wouldn't mind it. If he takes care of the air units, if he takes care of the Phoenix, unpowers
Yeah.
the Stargate. and
It's
if-
odd because normally you don't go a lot of mutas into like Stargate openers, but I guess if you know where the Stargate is.
It's pretty decent damage there, by the way, on this first Oracle. Only 2 drones going down. Obviously, it's not the end of the world.
I like that he got the Phoenix out too. It's very helpful to shut down the scouting like this. But it's a good Overlord suicide by Lambo regardless. Sees the Robo.
So it's once again 3 Oracles and a Phoenix. It is a quick Robo, by the way. Since we were
Yeah.
theory crafting a little bit whether or not you could Nidus an opening like this, that is a pretty damn quick Robo. And I think if Stats would get Nidus, he would always just give up on his 3rd Nexus and be like, you know what, I'll just stabilize on 2 bases and I'll take the game from there. I really hope that we do get to see the Nidus, because I feel like on paper, it should work. It seems powerful, but
Is it a bit strange by Lambo not to challenge or contest the Stargate a bit more?
I think he'll take care of that soon. 7 Overlord, by
Yeah.
the way, guys. Are we
I
going
think
to see
this might
Nidus?
be a Roach play. I wouldn't be surprised. He actually adds on another one as well.
Roach Nidus?
Oracles, though, once again moving in. They can actually get a lot of kills here. And that's 4 drones. That helps a lot, though. No, he's actually droning. Then why is he making so many Overlords?
I think it's just a mistake. Nerves maybe, I don't know.
He laser Overlords. He laser sitting behind him. Make off, he's never gets him.
Subconsciously, he's picking up on the thoughts.
Yeah.
He's like, make Overlords, make more of them.
If you're surrounded by a laser,
I mean, it's not-
building Overlords.
It's not that big of a deal if you already have a very healthy drone count.
Yeah.
But if it could be drones instead, then it's usually pretty bad. But if he was going to make roaches anyway, then it's really not all that bad.
It could have been a bit smoother, but it's okay. That's quite a few roaches on the way now. What's the queen count? And Overseer is morphing as well, guys. We're looking at 5 queens at this point. I have the feeling we're going to see a
Yeah.
pretty aggressive Lambo here, guys.
How many roaches has he made? Yeah, he's just continuously adding on more.
Oh, gets an Oracle
Yeah.
there. That's actually quite nice. I was like, what is that Phoenix shooting at? Why is that Phoenix shooting at that cute little building over there? I think we're going to see Nidus, boys. No, he does. No, he
I
does.
don't know. I'm not sure. I think he would have already started it up if he was going.
No, he does. No, he does.
This would be a very
You're gonna
nice-
look so smart if he does throw up the Nidus right now.
I think for the queens, you know, just in case. He's got a lot of units here, so obviously Lambo should be more than fine to take care of this. Lambo's still just building nothing but units. It's a little bit similar to the King's Cove move out, but obviously this time Lambo just looks like he's in a much better position.
But this is very aggressive and no sign of a Nidus or Spire. Okay,
Yeah,
Nidus,
there it is.
Nice.
Oh my
Perfect.
god.
I'm done.
Rotty with the star senses. There you go. You did it.
Snoot also, welcome to the cast of life, by the way. He's like, no sign of a Nidus. BAM!
Oh, recall. Actually, losing a couple sentries here? Oh, I think he only lost 1. It's a big deal either way.
I know that In Control lives for those moments, so.
Yeah.
Someone has to do it, right?
Yep.
Do you guys ever get freaked out by the cars on this map? Sometimes I look back into my main base and I'm like, oh my god, there's nothing. It's just a car.
If you start in the top left,
Yes.
cars are always...
Yes.
I'm afraid that just because you guys said it now, this is going to happen to a lot of people. It actually has never happened to me.
I'm sorry, guys.
From now on, I feel it's one of those things that probably didn't bother me, but now it's going to bother me. So thank you very much, Loki.
Yeah, it's like, is that a Horde Prism?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right, Nidus is going up as well, guys, in the main base. Lambo, oh, that timing on the Immortal
Immortal.
is so damn good.
Good force fields, trapping like 8 roaches inside there.
Where are the queens? He kind of needs the queens here, otherwise these oracles are just going to do a little too much damage to his Ravages. Corrosive Balls do a tiny bit of damage. Army supply, the advantage is there. That Stargate, by the way, is still powered, isn't it?
And the Nidus got shut down.
I'm not sure if I like this push too much, to be honest. Like, Stats has a really good army. He's got a better economy right here than Zerk as well. This kind of feels like an all-in, but is it really doing something?
Well, it's connecting with the sentries. He's almost running out of energy. How many batteries do we have over here, by the way?
2 Immortals at once. There's so much more. Like, a Prism is waiting as well.
Yeah, okay. With the extra batteries. I think if he would have brought the Nidus immediate... I think he just went for the Hail Mary play there. He wanted the big Nidus in the main. I think if he would have brought the queens here immediately, there was a lot more potential. But hey, Lambo's not down and out yet. He's still gonna try to get on top. Maybe he can unpower a couple of these batteries as well.
Why is the Prism not microing any of his units either?
Good question.
Because he's just trying to keep Immortals alive, I think. And it's like, okay, well, that was weird. Okay, stats. Stats, I mean...
It's actually starting to hurt a lot, though. A lot of these Protoss units are picked up. Oracles, once again, with a little bit of energy.
Where are the queens? Okay. Kurasabao actually connecting with a couple of these Stalkers.
Their shield batteries are helping out a lot from the third base here, and there's even more batteries to fall back on for the future.
Yep.
Yeah, supplies still on the tail. Like, it's really evening out right now.
I mean, sentries are going down left, right, and center, but like you said, the batteries are so massive. I love the 2 extra batteries he got. One of the Oracles does get picked off, but the Oracles, they really contributed in a very big way. They do so much damage to those Ravagers.
Yeah, 2 Immortals just finished as well, and that's going to be very painful. And there we go.
GG.
GG is called. That means Stats moves on to face TY.
I think if he would have done, I think you're correct there, Loco, yes he does. Stats in the semifinals, obviously well done. Congrats to our awesome Korean Protoss. He's going to join us on the couch real quick as well. I really think if the order of Niduses is a bit different there, like the first Nidus with the main, and then maybe the big Nidus, or excuse me, not in the main, the first are Nidus with the army on the north side of the third base, and then the big one in the main, and then you can always first fight on the top side, and then you can pop everything back into the Nidus, and then try to unload it in the main base. I just feel that maybe that's what hurt Lambo a little bit there, because I feel like he kind of